Welcome to the Unsupervised Podcast, the podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders. Today, we're talking about being unsupervised but not unaccountable. How to build self-discipline when no one is watching.
I'm not really in the mode to build, to build social media, to put videos together, to do editing and things. So a lot of that gets done in the late afternoons after kind of our normal work day.
Yeah.
Early mornings are good for designing, prepping for jobs for the day, kind of spending time, working out, reading, those early morning kind of starters, and then roll into a full work, constructing, building.
Yeah, getting a lot of the self-improvement parts of it early in the morning, just because that kind of sets up your day. If it sucks to wake up and work out or skip the energy drink or the unhealthy breakfast or whatever. But, once you get past that, now you're kind of working hours, day's kind of really starting.
Well, that's why for me, it was really, especially early on, was good for me to set up this morning routine, this, all the way up to doing all my morning things with breakfast and all those, cool down for my workout, start doing some inputting expenses, doing some of the billing and things, just some of the few things that aren't real, tedious necessarily or real important, but, things that just need to be taken care of, that can be taken care of at any time. So just get done what I can in the morning, then if the kids are in school, taking the kids to school, getting all them off to, and then getting into the shop and working, or, going to an install, or, meeting customers, those kind of things. And then kind of roll through getting ready if I have to pick kids up from school. The summertime is nice because there's that little bit of couple hours in the day that I have free.
You don't have to break it up.
Yeah, I can kind of adjust. But then, late afternoons after kids get home, they're working on homework or dinner's being prepared. For me, that is that good time for, social media stuff, scheduling posts, doing a little bit of video editing, and then do some family time there too. Also fit that in, and then kind of wind down for the end of the day, just personal time to, in the space I'm in, the creative space, it's good for me to spend a little time on social media or watching a movie or TV is good just to keep things firing, keep things fresh, and design ideas and elements, and, just trying to stay up with that. And then sometimes even rolls into a little bit of design. If I have things that spark my mind, I'll pull out my laptop and I'll work on, some designs while I'm spending time with the family or on the couch watching TV. I'll pull that out and I'll do some of that work as well. A lot of creative brainstorming and stuff, just to get that out before, because that happens. You get a good idea and you're thinking about it, and then you go to sleep and you wake up next morning, you're like, what was I thinking about? I had a great idea and I don't remember just trying to get that down.
Yeah, it's not a set time of I work 8 to 5 or whatever.
Exactly.
And it's not even like I'm always working. It's just the flexibility to go on and off.
Well, and that's something that I think is really important, and what helped me is I don't look at this as much as I used to, but when I started, I would follow this. Okay, from, 5:45 to 6, I'm getting up and I'm going to read my Bible first thing. And then from 6 to 6:30, I'm going to go for a walk and listen to a podcast. And then from 6:30, breakfast, cool down, have this whole thing broken down, right? That's evolved a little bit and changed, but now I just kind of know when I get up, I'm just in a routine, and that I hit the ground and I do this and I do this, and I try to stay in that routine as much as possible. But I would say anyone struggling with staying motivated, staying accountable, set yourself a schedule, set alarms, make sure that you do these, no matter if you're like, oh no, I'm gonna do this for 5 more minutes. No, follow the schedule. Stop at that exact time, start the next task at the the appropriate time, and just keep moving through that schedule.
Yeah,
because
at least
that's definitely
first,
tough.
just to keep the discipline. Like long term, it doesn't matter, but it's more like until you get in the habit of doing it.
Yeah. It's building new habits maybe that you aren't already doing, For someone like me and what I do, I have so many things between podcasting and my business and, kids activities and volunteering, and like I need to be on a schedule and my day needs to start early. I can't sleep till 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Like that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it works for some others, but I have a strict schedule that I try to stick to where I'm getting up and I'm getting these things done. That way I can get to, the work items. And like you said, some things move around. It's not, some stuff I'll do later at night. I can push off computer work or design. I can fit that into my personal growth time I have in the evenings, but it's really important just to outline that and set that for yourself so that you can build those positive habits.
Shout out to Justin, our fellow podcast host, leaving these in the podcast studio. Twisted, that's what we're drinking.
Especially on a hot day like today, a hot summer day.
I know. Yeah. We didn't really plan on what we were drinking, but I had a bunch of those. So I kind of like hosting various podcasts because people always come in and they'll bring something, especially early days of business and beyond. Guests would always bring a bottle of something. That's kind of how we stayed stocked. So days like this, we don't think about what we're drinking. It was already taken care of. And yeah, this episode, we were pre-show talking about staying accountable when there's no one to be accountable to. I mean, whether you're a new entrepreneur or making the jump from quitting and you're getting out of that structure and you don't have hey, I have to show up at work at 8 o'clock. So it's easy to, it takes me this long to get ready, this long to commute. So I need to wake up at this time or whatever. And then you can plan dinner and everything around that. Hey, I get off at 4 or 5, whatever time it takes this long to get home from work. And, it's easy when that structure is given to you. And then it's great to have the freedom to have all of that. It's now your choice, your decision how to do it, but it's hard to stick to a schedule. It's hard, if you just like, I'll sleep into whatever. I don't have to report to anybody. And that's great. If you can do that, more power to you. If you don't have to worry about what time you go to bed, you stay, you can work whatever hours, but lots of times things can get away from you and you can't stay organized and you're wondering what's going on. I can't, you have to still have that structure.
Yeah.
And you have the example of literally every minute is structure from when you wake up to,
which is not, don't take that literal where that's where you have to be every day. It just worked for me to start out is keeping that structured. And then I kind of adjusted it and made some moves. So don't just follow and say, oh, this guy said you have to be here at this time exact. Well, if you need to, if that's the structure you want to set for yourself to make sure that you keep yourself accountable, I would go way off the deep end with it like that to start. And then you'll settle into what's comfortable and what works.
30 days, 60 days, whatever, to 21 days to build a habit. I know there are different variations of that. But I would suggest like literally do that until you build that habit. And then it can, once you have it and you don't have to literally go check off. I did that, I've had successes and, when I want to go on a diet and lose weight, usually before vacation, because then you just don't have to worry about what you eat, is I would just, for the first week or two, just go hardcore. Like, no, I'm just not going to drink soda I don't give up anything, but I'm just not going to do that this week or the next week or whatever. I'm going to fast. I'm going to, eat right, just go hardcore at it. And then it becomes a little easier. Like, okay, well, this, we can have a cheeseburger.
It becomes your identity.
Yeah, we can have a cheese. First of all, after about a week, that's when it gets really easy. I gave up drinking soda for about 3 months. After the first week, it wasn't a big deal. As long as you have to, prepare for it and give yourself other options. It's difficult to eat healthy and cook meals when you don't prep. If you wait till you get off work at 5 o'clock and then you're like, well, now I'm starving, I'm irritable, I'm tired, I don't know what we're doing. You're going to stop at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or whatever. But just in general, just get past that first week. And then it's not like I have to stay hardcore. It's like, okay, for the next few weeks, it's like, now it's easy. Just replace one meal. I can, because it's really not difficult to eat healthy, but, it's time. I have a wife that doesn't gain a pound no matter what she eats. So she's not interested in eating healthy. And my kids obviously don't want to, are very picky eaters. So it's like, well, no, it's not difficult to eat healthy. It's difficult to now I'm pretty much eating healthy around them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I have to find out, okay, here's a healthy meal when they're making sloppy joes or something I want to eat. or whatever. That's really the most difficult part of it, but it's just planning. And that's what it is. It's, you have to do it. You don't have a boss telling you. You have, like, people will say, oh, your customers or your clients are your bosses now, which can be true, but I mean, use that. You're like, okay, well, you know that waking up at 5 a.m. or whatever time and getting this stuff done prepares you for this, because you can't, like, you're going to have to start answering emails at 7, 8, 9 o'clock, whatever in the morning.
Yeah.
Based on your customers. You know, if you have customers that are going to email you in the morning, daily, weekly, whatever, that's how you base it off of. If you have a company and I don't know, whatever your product or service is, but you don't have to deal with customers but once a month, then most of the time it's easy for you, I guess. And you just, you know, you can do your work in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. You go do family stuff, but we're not saying you can't have that flexibility. You're going to lose that flexibility if you don't have those constraints there. You have there's going to be constraints one way or the other, because everybody has the same amount of time. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. It's just how you use your 24 hours. And, you know, if you're just going to say, I'm going to sleep till 9 o'clock, wake up, slowly get ready, work for a couple hours, go watch TV. And then, hell, if you want to watch TV in the middle of the day or take a nap, schedule that out, set an alarm.
Yeah.
Go watch, go binge a show for a couple hours and come back and work. But, if you don't set that stringent time period on you, if you don't set your alarm, you're just going to keep, I'll just watch another one. I'll do work later,
Yeah.
A book that I read, 5 a.m. Club, it kind of talks about that, where basically you wake up at 5 and then you have an exact set schedule. But you have to be out of bed at 5, because 5 to 5:10 is like meditation. But it says, do that strict schedule. And then, because you have to fit an hour's worth of stuff into an hour.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then now you're behind. Now, and it even suggests, well, if you have to, if you don't have time for that hour, wake up at 4 a.m., whatever. But it develops the habit. And the first thing you do is you make your bed when you wake up. And really, the idea of making your bed doesn't do anything. It's not, people say cleanliness, clutter, whatever. No, it's just to prove to yourself that you can brush your teeth with your left hand for 21 days or 30 days or whatever. It's just in your mind, you're like checking off those easy boxes. So look, I can do anything for 30 days if I can do that for 30 days.
Yeah. It's easy wins.
Yeah. Easy wins, just blocking them up. And that's what it is. Basically, you wake up and, I want to say I haven't read that book in years, but don't touch your phone for a certain amount of time. For the first 30 minutes, that's what people do. First thing they go up, look at their notifications. And I still do that sometimes, just to make sure
you get sucked into them.
You assume the worst has happened. You're going to have 5 missed calls. I need to check just in case. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, I got notifications. Get on Facebook, get on it. Oh, let me just watch this video,
Yeah.
And you get sucked into it. It's easy to, every social media app has reels or shorts or whatever, and you watch one and then you, by default, swipe to the next one, you meant to just watch that one somebody sent you. And like I said, just at least for cause you said you kind of adjust it. You don't go to it minute by minute. You don't look at it anymore really. But you have that habit. You wake up, first thing you do is grab your Bible or your phone, tablet, whatever you read your Bible on, and then you move on to the next and the next. And that's kind of the first thing I do. So I go and that's how I get my water intake.
You mentioned about
chug
the
water.
phone. I try not to. I mean, obviously it's like a habit. You pick it up and you see notifications, but I really try not to look at my emails that early. Because sometimes if something comes through, I want to jump on it. Well, I'll just go take care of this for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then again, it throws your entire morning off, your whole day off, and then you're stuck there for
even if you
3
don't
hours.
do anything. What if you just read it and there is a problem that you can't deal with till 8 o'clock?
It wouldn't
anyways.
matter. Yeah,
But now it's now you're anxious. You're like, oh crap, I got to deal with this.
It's all you're thinking about. You're not focused on your reading or your, I like to listen to a lot of motivational podcasts and stuff. I want to get into that good mode before I start looking at my email. So typically I'm not going to check my email. I mean, it's even on here, I have it put in for 7 a.m. is kind of when after my workout, my breakfast and cool down, that's when I'll make my coffee. Typically I'll go ahead and sit down at my desk, and that's when I'll open it up and I'll start looking about 7. I'll start looking at some emails. If I knew I had anything pending that I wanted to send out, I would start doing those things. That's typical morning for me.
Yeah.
Now that does vary between 7 and 7:30 now. It's a little different. I'm a little less stringent on it being summertime with the kids because I gained that time of not taking kids and picking kids up. So I'm a little bit more lenient on some of those times. I'll do things a little bit longer. But when kids are in school, it's a pretty stringent schedule.
Yeah.
Because I have a finite amount of time between taking them,
you're an entrepreneur,
getting work
now
done.
You're going to, because you're going by somebody else's hours.
Yeah.
Unless you completely work for yourself and live alone, and you don't
rely on anybody else.
Hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I do adjust that, and I am a little more stringent on that when the kids are in school. Especially if the kids are in school and then they get out of school, and then I want to spend that time with them. So I want to get everything I can knocked out that I need to before that 4:00 time. Where now being summertime, maybe I do things up till 3:00, and then if I've got some time, I go spend with the family, and then maybe I come back to it at 5, and then back to it at 7. Kind of jump around a little bit. Definitely much more stringent when school's in. But obviously you adjust that to whatever schedule works for you and the life that you want to live. I've built my schedule and the life that I want to live. And I think that's the biggest thing in entrepreneurship is, it's not, I get the freedom, it's just building the life you want to live. It's not so much that I have more freedom, is I just get to schedule out the things that I want to do when I want to do them for the most part.
Yeah. And it is all based off somebody's particular situation. Because I said it earlier, everybody has 24 hours, but that's not really the case in the sense of your 24 hours isn't the same as Jeff Bezos' 24 hours. You can't compare it because he probably has somebody that does his laundry and cooking.
Yeah.
And you can't compare it to that. You can't just say everybody has the same 24 hours, but you can in that instance say you have a lot more, I'll say you have a lot more to do than Jeff Bezos does, but you have different things you have to fit in your schedule where you can't just throw money at, just have somebody else take care of meals.
It's funny you say that. That's something I've really been debating. Is I'm a guy, I love to do my own yard work. I love to mow my own yard, but recently, as busy and as big as the business has been building, it's like, hey, is it time to just pass that off? Is it worth now just to pay someone to manage my lawn for me than me spending that time?
Yeah,
for what it would cost me.
You don't look at it as a luxury.
Yeah,
it's like you can compare making your own coffee in Starbucks because that's not a time thing. If anything, it's quicker to make your own coffee and also cheaper. But I say the same thing with DoorDash. Like sometimes the Uber Eats, DoorDash, the rates are kind of ridiculous. But then if you think about it, it's like, if I drive 20 minutes to this place and drive back, like it's $15 extra.
What else was I able to accomplish?
It's like
in
that's
that time?
40 minutes, and my time is worth a lot more. To me, is necessarily worth more. Like anybody listening, your time is worth more than whatever you're getting paid. Like I don't go off based off that because your time's worth a lot more than that. Now, if it's being able to afford lawn care, that's completely different. But in general, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if the difference between you mowing your yard and having somebody else do it for, $50 is, how long would it take you to mow your yard? Like I'm probably
a couple hours on mine.
You got to stop what you're doing. It's not like, okay, you start timing once you have the mower right in front of you. You go, no, you have to stop what you're doing, go probably change. You're not going to mow, and then after you're done mowing, well, I can't just go back. I'm going to go shower. I'm going to do, the whole process. It's replacing it of in that 2 hours. What could I have gotten accomplished? Now, if you're just going to sit on your ass and watch TV, which there's nothing wrong. If you can afford it, I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your time. But if you're debating whether to do that and you're sitting on your butt while someone's mowing your lawn, that's different. But, to me, $50, 2 hours, roughly, it's $25 an hour. I'm worth a hell of a lot more than that to me.
Yeah.
And you are because you charge for labor. You have a number you charge for.
Yeah.
And it's more than that. So that's a whole nother debate, but it still goes into the whole thing of you have to break down your day. You have to hold yourself accountable. But I think, again, it's different for different people because some people don't have the strength, I guess, to hold themselves accountable. Have an accountability partner. Have somebody. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I'd be scared if you're doing it on your own. At least having somebody to talk to, like you called me earlier today with a thing like, hey, hear me out, let's talk.
Yeah.
And side note, you came with the right mindset of thinking, hey, I have this issue. Tell me if I'm wrong. Not, hey, tell me I'm right. It's tell me if I'm wrong. And every entrepreneur, every man should have that, another man in their life they bounce off ideas and talk to or whatever. But you should have that. If it's working out, and get a workout partner, or just tell your friends, say, hey, my goal is to lose this much weight or be able to lift this much by this date. Let's set it on. Let's talk on that date and tell me it. And you think it's trivial and stupid, but now like, hey, I'm going to disappoint that person if I meet him Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I didn't, or if you tell me, hey, I want to sign 3 new customers this month or whatever. And it's easy when you have your boss breathing down your throat or breathing down your neck thinking, hey, this is your goal. This is how you make money. That's what you have to do. Like, yeah, you don't want that stress and you want the flex. Like, you don't want everything that comes in with working a 9 to 5. But a lot of that stuff, you still need the fire lit under. So if you tell me, hey, let's have a meeting. Let's have a meeting, Saturday. I'm going to sign a new customer this week. I want you to hold me accountable if I don't sign one and at least help me dig. It's not like, hey, you're trash, do a better job. It's all right. Well, what happened? What'd you do this week? Just have an outside perspective. And maybe it's like, you know what? I wasn't feeling great Monday. I was slacking Tuesday. I just wasn't feeling good. I thought I'm just going to take the day off.
So I can procrastinating.
Push it
off.
Maybe it's legitimate. You're sick. Maybe there's legitimate, and that's fine. But in your mind, you're going to think that's legitimate. In my mind, I'm like, well, was it though? Like, okay, that's fine. You were sick this week. Let's do 2 next week. Let's get 2 next week and see you're feeling, let's work extra hard Saturday or whatever. Cause you say it's not 9 to 5 when you're an entrepreneur. Now you're working 5 to 9, but it's not, like you said, it's not straight hours. It's, to me, you're really kind of working 24/7.
Yeah. No, I mean, you and I communicate a lot. You're my accountability partner, and the hours I put in, 7 days a week, all hours, late nights, early
mornings. You go on
mornings,
vacation and you want to hang out with the family. Like, hey, maybe at 10, 11 o'clock, I'm going to do some work because I didn't do it before.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the last time I had an actual day off where I just did nothing. There's always something to do now. It may not be a grind of an 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour day doing it. Maybe it's over a 14 or 16-hour span, it's in and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, being an entrepreneur, you have to realize there are no days off.
Yeah.
You're working all the time. That it is your life. That's, there is no work-life balance when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It is your life. You're just building the life that you want. And the life that I want is having this business, is having this.
It's yours. It's not.
But it's also having
else's.
having the opportunity to do things with my family in the middle of a work day.
Yeah.
When the time is appropriate for my family, I make the work around that,
Yeah.
Well, I don't work my life around work. Work works around my life. Is exactly how I want it built. That's how I interpret and how I look at entrepreneurship is the work's not going to dictate to me what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And setting ego aside, looking at the other way is entrepreneurs are like, I work 100 hours a week, whatever. But it's the same point. We're talking about checking your email in the morning or whatever that you have to, it's not only figuring out what to eat, when to read your book, when to listen to your podcast, when to take naps, when to sleep and have family time around it. It's okay. When you're actually working, that's got to be an efficiency too. It's, we talked about a big project you have coming up where you're going to forward me your emails because you can't stop to go check your emails every 10 seconds. And reading in general, I'm like that. I'm like, I'd rather I tell people when I'm on vacation, I'm like, hey, if something happens, at least text me and let me know. I would rather know what I'm getting into when I come back Monday or whatever than to just let me, even if I can't do anything about it. And that's fine. But it's too like, if you can't take care of it, you can't take care of it. You have focus. If you're sitting around at home or whatever, it might not be a big deal to check an email, but.
Well, a term I heard a long time ago that I still kind of try to stick to, and I sometimes have to retell myself this, is focus where your feet are. If this is where you're at, focus on this. Don't have other things in the back of your mind. When it's time to focus on those, that's where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go on vacation and you're going to focus on doing these things with your family, do those things. Be there 100%. Then if you want to pull away and take some time to do work, then focus your time there. Don't be halfway in and halfway out. Try to lock in wherever. Doing a podcast here, it's hard for me sometimes when we come into a podcast. I have so many business things going on in my head. We'll be here talking and I'm thinking about, I got this, I got that, I got this project coming. No, I got to focus here. This is where my feet are at. This is what I'm focusing on. When we get done here, I can shift over, and that's where my 100% focus is going to be. Because it's like multitasking, man. There's
no multitasking.
I never liked the term multitasking.
Nobody multitasks. You have 100%. You have 100% of your focus
capacity.
And you can spend 50% talking to somebody and 50% on this. That's fine, but you're only doing 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Or 33, 30, whatever. You could say you're a good multitasker, and you might be better at doing 3 tasks at once, and I'm better at 3 tasks at once, but 99.9% of the time, it would be more efficient to stop and do one task now. That's obviously not always the case when you have a phone ringing, but when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you're just like, hey.
But a lot of mistakes happen when you're trying to multitask. Yeah. Like you said, you're on the phone with someone and then you're working on something else. I mean, how many of us have been talking to somebody and then typing a text, and you type what we're talking about something, and I start typing those words as
I'll tell you, the other day we were doing that. I was with you, and it was after we had finished this, our last episode, and I didn't mistype anything, but if it did not take me 10 minutes to send a text, because I would type it, we talk, go back, type, and then how many times I proofread that. Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, hold on, let me send this text, and then just hold your thought. I'm going to send this text.
Yeah. And it wasn't an important text. That's why I didn't do that. I could have just sent it later, but it was like replying to somebody, and like you sit and talk, and like I promise you, no, please comment. Tell me I'm wrong if you think, like, I like to debate with those people who think they're really good at multitasking.
But you're not doing any one thing really well and really efficient.
No. And there are jobs where, like, I want to have an episode based on looking at job descriptions when you're applying for jobs and showing red flags. That's a fun topic to talk about. But one is must be able to multitask. And you could give me 100 examples. Like, yeah, you should. And they may not mean multitask all the time, but it may be like if you're working a retail job, yes, you have to be able to stop doing that to go do that. But that's what you're not multitasking. You're stopping to, as where fast-paced environment comes in.
It would be better worded as maybe you should be able to manage tasks. Yeah, manage multiple tasks.
If you're folding clothes at a retail job and somebody asks you to go show them something, you're not taking those clothes with you and folding them as you go. You stop what you're doing and you go. And when we're talking, when you're an entrepreneur and you say you have to do this and you say you can't, I always want to say, are you sure really? Can you? Not to, to have a legit conversation, reevaluate what you say you can't do. Because it's like, well, no, I can't not look at my phone. Like, what if something, we were just talking, we might have been talking after we hit record, but the worst possible case scenario happens. And you wake up and that happens. Somebody happened to email you at 3 a.m. about that.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got to check my phone. I can't just not have my phone, Most cases you can. I'm not saying turn your phone off and ignore your phone, but maybe not look at your phone every time an email dings or whatever. I had a boss that told me, because emailing somebody so easy to do, where then you get in trouble. Like, well, I sent him an email this morning. Why didn't he take, it's like, if you need something done 1 to 2 days or 2 to 3 days, send an email. If you need something done, whatever it was, send a text. It's like, if you need something done within like in the next, that half day, that morning or that afternoon, call them, because people legitimately, I always have my email open. I will check my email. I'll have it on my computer, but there are people that say, hey, I check email this time of day, this time of day, and this time of day. And if you're emailing that person,
they might not see it.
They may not see it for 3 hours. Yeah, because that's just what they do. And hey, they're probably more efficient than you.
Well, that's something I kind of think about this. We did a lot of research previously on, technology and where things are going. Like the phone, this is your TV now, right? Like this is This is where you get
it's legitimately your entire life.
But really, I look at it as the email has turned into the text, and the text has turned into the phone call.
Yeah.
And almost the phone call's been eliminated. I mean, not even, I have customers even that send text.
I'll tell you the problematic, you get the watch.
Yeah.
The Apple Watch. It'll go off and I won't be around my phone. But if I look down and it, since I look, it shows up as a red message. And I've gotten, gone back and forth with my wife about it. She's like, it said you read it and you responded like 15 minutes later. And I will not text on it because you have to do like I'm not going to do that. But I'm like, well, it's probably because I look at it on my watch and I see the text. And if it's something urgent, yeah, sure. But I see the text. It's like, okay, whatever. Because if my watch goes off, you'll see it. We had breakfast with Bryant that one time. He thought, he was like, I had a different watch band, so it looked like a real watch. And he kind of got anxious. He's like, okay, we got to end this. This guy looks at his watch one more time. I'm like, no, I'm getting notification. I just glance and see what it is.
Yeah.
Is it a text? Is it an email? What is it? If it's important. So on this podcast, you'll see me like just glance down at my watch. If it goes off at all.
Yeah.
It vibrates. I'm like, what is it? Well, just to see.
Could be the Ranger's score.
Yeah,
probably is. That's probably more likely.
That might all be, yeah, exactly. It's not going to be the email that said, I have to stop everything I'm doing and go right now.
One way I've fixed that problem for myself is I took off notifications for emails. So emails don't notify me. They don't pop up on my phone.
And take that a step further, well, maybe a step back, but go onto any apps. Like email is okay, but the Ranger score.
Yeah.
Like maybe mute that between what times you want to work or whatever. Just maybe games. Don't. And there are a lot of,
with technology, I know iPhones, Apple products, they do that. You can set certain times of the day. I assume all brands of phones and devices can do that now. If that's what you need, do that. Now, in our business, it's different, right? We're big on social media. Yeah. We want to respond, and when we get comments and things, we do get notifications for those, and we try to stay on top of those responses. But for me, emails, like, I'll check once in a while. I mean, I'm picking my phone up every probably outside of this, 10, 15 minutes.
If I'm at my desk, I'm at desk at work. I have 3 screens. Email will be on one of them. And it'll notify if I get an email, I'll glance and see what it is. If it's somebody asking a question, I'll click on it. Like I get questions like they'll email. I've legitimately got an email asking a question. About 30 minutes later, an email reply like, hey, just want to make sure you got my email. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. I answered it. Like, okay, you just usually respond so fast. Yeah. And it's like, not that that's a bad thing, but it's like, well, now, because you respond so fast, you're setting up that standard.
For me, it's definitely helped on when you go on vacation or you want to be out of town and you want to set certain times that you're going to sit down and respond to emails. It's helped not having on my phone, because if I see an email and I know an answer to it, I'll just respond to it. Yeah. Well, then you end up with 5 emails. That's like that. That's why I tell people. You're spending a lot of time responding.
If I'm on vacation and there's a simple question and I can answer it like that, no problem. Where something is, where it's filed, something like that, and it's going to take y'all an hour to figure that out, I'd rather you just ask me. But lots of times, depending on where you go on vacation, if you're swimming, you're doing what, you don't have your phone on you, then it's like you tell people, and that's fine. But I was like, don't rely on me to answer either. I always tell them, like, I went to a lake vacation a few weeks ago, and I just told him, like, I'm probably not gonna have good reception, which probably isn't true, because I have you're on Wi-Fi, you're gonna have whatever. I don't know how it all works, but I just set the standard or set that expectation. Like, I'm probably not gonna be able to respond, but go ahead and text or email if you need to.
Yeah.
And I set my email reply or the automatic reply or whatever, the notification to say, hey, I'm out, whatever. But I still look at email. I'm not just gonna not look at it, because I get too many emails. It's not that I want to take care of it right then, but if I legitimately don't look at my email for 3 days, I'll have 500 emails, and that's when I'm going to miss something or lose something.
Yeah.
At least look at it. Okay, I need to take care of that later, flag it or something, so I know to go back.
That's what for me, and I think most entrepreneurs are like this, is you still manage when you're off on weekends. I have customers that will send emails, and I can tell sometimes that, hey, they're just sending it because it's the weekend. They have an opportunity to send it. They don't expect me to respond until Monday anyways. So I'll flag it and say, hey, that way when I go back Monday, when I get in the office, I start looking through emails. I go through, look, okay, all of them that are flagged. Is this something I need to respond to now? Yes. Yeah. Okay. This one I need to get to right away. They emailed over the weekend. Now I'll respond to them. So it's also managing that as well, is what's an emergency, what's not. I mean, I would say in most cases, depending on the service you provide as an entrepreneur, weekends are probably people aren't expecting you to respond to emails.
Yeah.
If it's an emergency, they're going to call or text you typically.
Yeah. Or being weary of who your email forward is going to be. Like when I went on vacation, I just said, call the office. And then if I see an email pop up, I was like, okay, I know the answer to that. They just got an email back saying, call the office. I'm going to email one of my employees and say, hey, this person might call in, or I'll forward that email and say, hey, this is the answer to that, or this is the situation with that. I'll deal with it, whatever.
Yeah.
The same way as like those 2-3 days that I'm going to be your email forward. You're going to, if you get something like that and there's like, oh, they're going to email him, I'm going to let him know. Yeah, by the way, whatever, you know? But in general, I even have trouble believing this sometimes or feeling this. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
To just don't look at your phone. You're not going to get the one email that's
any of my customers that are watching this probably aren't going to like it, but I've gotten more to a point where I respond less quickly to emails.
You're not going to lose the sale
because
by waiting a couple of hours.
And sometimes I can get more information gathered and give them an even better response than just, okay,
how many times have you done that? You've emailed and you thought, oh man, I should have said it this way, or I should have done like, chill and relax. Like I said, you're not going to lose the sale. Most of the time when you send an email and you get an email back in a couple of days or even a few hours later, you don't think anything. You're not like, damn, why didn't you email me back so quickly?
A good rule of thumb is 24 hours.
Yeah.
I want to get them a response in less than 24 hours.
Even if you don't have the right answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least if I'm waiting. I got your email. I'm working on it.
I'm pretty big on responding to an email. If I get an email and I'm working on it or I don't know that, I'll respond pretty quick then and say, hey, I'll get your response tomorrow. Or, hey, give me till this afternoon. Or I'm pretty good about that. What does frustrate me is when I email somebody and I don't know if it got to them, because that's the bad thing about email. Sometimes it could go to junk for no apparent reason.
Yeah, especially when we're working with bigger corporations.
I'm pretty big, because we everything we work through, even on our own servers, are pretty secured, and random weird emails, even if you've been emailing the person, they're in your contacts, sometimes it'll just flag it and not like it. If I get an email, I usually will try to respond, hey, I got this, received. Give me a couple hours. Give me a day. Hey, I'll get you something tomorrow. I'll at least try to give you something. And sometimes I'll say, hey, I'll get you something tomorrow. And then later I'll get to it. I'm like, oh, this actually is pretty easy. Hey, I had an opportunity to get this done. Here you go. I always set that expectation.
You manage the expectations a little further. Now you got it done as quickly as you thought you would, or as you would have done, but now they think you got to do it quicker.
Exactly.
And if you don't respond to them, like lots of times, the person you're emailing isn't the person that's making a decision. So if you don't get back to them, their boss or whoever may say, hey, have you heard back? No, let me follow up. That's every time somebody asks me, oh, no, I haven't. Let me follow up. And now it's the second email sent. Now it's kind of on you. You're like, oh man, now they sent us. So if you tell them, within a reasonable time, hey, I'm working on it. Then when their person asks them, oh yeah, they're working on it. They'll get back to me. And and it's the same thing. You just got to stay ahead of that second email asking, the next day, you're like, if you still have an answer, if somebody emails me in the morning and I email them late morning, afternoon, I'm working on it. And the next day I still don't have a solution or don't have it finished. Maybe mid-morning I'll say, hey, haven't forgot about you, still working on this.
Yeah.
Trying to get this figured out. That's a big part of eating your schedule is email and I'm one that like, I hate having notifications. I'll go in my apps, I'll clear it out. I'll delete the emails. I'll make sure I'll click on it and make, I hate the icons on the
important
apps.
too. I know a lot of people struggle with this and I can get in that mode too of, with social media, it's getting sucked into it for too long. Like I said earlier, our business revolves around me. We do a lot of social media. We are very active on all social media platforms. So yes, we do need to be in that. And yes, we want to stay up with trends and we're putting videos together. We try to stay up with.
You make a post
what's
and
important.
Then your feed updates and the algorithm knows what you like. You're like, oh, that's interesting. You click and scroll.
That's something I definitely have struggled with in the past, but I do try to limit that to certain times. That's why I set those usually for the evening. I don't spend a lot of time on social media throughout the day. Maybe a quick response on a message, or sometimes we get messages in, inquiring about business. Typically, though, on that even is on when I get messages, inquiries through messengers and things, I'll usually try to move that to an email. Say, hey, here's my email, or send me your email. Let me respond to you through email. And I try to move those conversations to email as much as possible.
Yeah.
If it makes sense. I know some people, they just focus and love to use Messenger versus text.
Well, if you use I like using, I don't remember what it's called, the business app, Facebook and Instagram, the Meta Business Suite. Then you're not on your feet. Like you schedule your posts, or you just go and post in general.
That's where I respond to a lot of comments and things,
and then you're not, okay, now you're doing on your phone straight on Facebook, and you clear out, because I like to just clear out, go back home, and then it's like, okay, now you might get stuck in that loop. Yeah. Like there's no feed you're getting other than messages, and you can post on the business suite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, scheduling posts is something, because you have it in your mind, doing Peak One Sports content. Hell, Sunday afternoons would be like, hey, this is the content for the week, outside of breaking news.
I have
type
scheduled
stuff.
in the evenings, for myself, is, if we're sitting on the couch just watching TV or just kind of chilling right after dinner, I'll jump on there and spend a little time, editing and putting some things, and go ahead and setting them up, scheduling them, writing posts, putting all that content together, and try to do it for a couple days if possible.
Yeah.
And go ahead and have that ahead. Then the next day when I come, I can do more, and then schedule those out even further.
Spend 30 minutes,
and then schedule it out even further
every few days or whatever.
Scheduling's big. I mean, honestly, going back to email, I know we use Google Business Suite is what all our stuff's based through. You can schedule emails through that, or you can instead of hitting send, you can hit schedule and set a time. I like to do that a lot as well, because there's times maybe on a weekend or late at night, I'm putting an email, and I'm like, man, I don't want that perception that I'm just working all the time. I'll schedule it for 8 a.m., 9 a.m. to send out to you.
Managing those expectations, because if somebody says, oh yeah, Tony emailed me.
Oh, he's emailed me on Sunday.
He works on Saturdays and Sundays. So now if I get, and not only emails, just they want to call you.
Yeah.
They think, oh yeah, he works all the time, I can call him whenever.
Yeah.
Outside of you like giving somebody permission.
But that gives me, like you said, an opportunity on like Sunday afternoons to be able to sit down. Maybe I spend half an hour to an hour, compose some emails and go ahead and schedule them out for the week. Some I need to follow up on projects, or, maybe we're prospecting new customers that we're reaching out to, and, we'll schedule that out for what seems like appropriate times that we know our email's not going to get lost over the weekend.
Yeah. So on my iPhone, I have one of the widgets for my reminders, where I have ones that like payroll, certain trainings, monthly things that it's just on repetitive. It'll alert me. And then when stuff comes up, I'll click on there, type something in, and, if it's work related, it'd be the next business day at like, 7:30, 8 a.m. Remind me, because it's way too much stuff. I know people like to write stuff down or put stuff on calendars, but to me, if it's not going to alert me, I don't. Lots of times I'll get on get on there and go look at my calendar and say, okay, what meetings do I have set for today? But lots of times I'll go on there and get working. I'm like, oh, I forgot to check the calendar, see what's going on. But if it
not everyone
buzzes, beeps, whatever, and alerts me, look at it. Oh yeah, this is what I got.
Not everybody knows or has been accustomed to it. A lot of small business owners or entrepreneurs, they haven't been in the more corporate settings where scheduling and time management and scheduling and setting meetings, having multiple meetings a day, where you live out of a calendar. I would say really spend that time. Every phone's got a calendar app. You can download calendar apps. I would really become familiar with that, and learn how to use it, learn how to schedule and set it. Even minuscule things like, oh, I need to go drop these packages off at UPS. Put it in your calendar. Oh, I got this job. Oh, I got this meeting. Just put it in your calendar. Even if tomorrow morning I've got to go do that, just put it in your calendar. Then learn to live through that. On mine, I built a widget on my iPhone that's a larger calendar that shows me a list of all the things for that day that are coming up.
If I have a candidate coming in to interview, I always put the time on there. Then I put 30 minutes before. I always do at least 30 minutes before, because they show up early. Lots of times they do, but I put 30 minutes just so hell, if I like, oh yeah, I'll go run and grab that real quick. Like, oh, 30 minutes, I need to get back. And then 30 minutes is a long time too. So if I'm sitting at my desk, okay, I got that in 30 minutes. I get on doing something else, completely forget. So 15 minutes. Okay, 15. I do 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, just to make sure that, oh, I saw it. Okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's still, and even still,
well,
sometimes I've
you're
got
part
busy
of
doing
our,
something and they walk in the office.
You're part of our work calendar. So, you see, we put in jobs, even though it's like, oh, I know we got this job going this week. I go ahead and schedule it in, because if we get a customer calling saying, hey, I want to meet, well, I'll go through just like you're saying. Okay, well, I have it these set hours. Okay, we've got a slot at 1 p.m. for you that we can come look at your project, or maybe an install or something. Like, that's really important. It seems like it's a minuscule. You're like, oh, well, that's easy. It takes attention to do that. And it helps. Like, that was probably one of the biggest things I struggled with, is the logistics and scheduling. It's like, well,
it's so easy. If
I've got like 5
you,
jobs coming in, and they're like, well, what availability do you have? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of doing this over here today. And so it's really
easy to tell somebody, oh, we'll make it work out. Yeah, that's fine. But get in the habit of, well, let me check my calendar first.
And you
lots of times
them.
I've scheduled it and I'll be like, oh crap, I can't do it tomorrow because I have this.
Yeah.
And like, well, I already told them, so this I'm going to have to move.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let me check my calendar. Okay. No, not this afternoon. I can do it tomorrow morning or whatever, and it's easy as that, because you want to be available and flexible, but
and I've known of guys, or people putting, like I said, this task, I've just put it as a journal entry, like a note in my phone. But, even this, you could put all these time slots in your calendar. Go ahead and block all these time slots out. And then exactly, hey, this is the time slot I have available for anything new that's not part of, like, do that and schedule. Then you never have to worry about, every time slot can get filled. And then you're really just, instead of looking at your entire day, you've got like a couple hours maybe that you're like, hey, this is time I don't have filled. That's all I have to worry about. Everything else is scheduled for me and set out. I think that's an extreme. Like, it does cut some of your flexibility, but some people don't want that flexibility. They need to be very time oriented and on top.
Because then you just get too comfortable and like, yeah, I can do that. I got all the time in the world,
Which sometimes is okay. I'm a little bit like that too, is I don't schedule every little thing into my calendar. I want that flexibility. Be like, yeah, sure, I'll come there. You need me at 6 a.m.? Sure. I'll move my stuff around. I'll be there by 6 a.m.
But you know what you have to move around. You're not going to be there at 6 a.m. and get a call. Hey, you told me you were going to take care of this.
Definitely important stuff I will put in my calendar and mark it. And I have a separate, Apogee Graphics calendar that I will put those jobs in. I even have gotten my family big on this too. And I think that's going to help my kids as well. Is we, in one of those folders in our phone or calendars, we created a family calendar that notifies everyone. When I put in a doctor's appointment, everyone gets notified this was added. When someone's got a ball game, when someone has,
because people have different standards. Like I was saying, when I put 30 minutes and 15 minutes and 5 minutes. So when my wife's talking about, hey, I'm going to schedule a doctor's appointment, you'll need to take them, whatever, it'll pop up. But as we learned, you could put all the alerts in there. It's only going to affect me. It's not going to put alerts in there for you. So when that gets added, oh, there it is. I'll click on it. And okay, remind me in 2 days just to make sure not to play anything. Remind me in 1 day. Remind me in an hour or 2. Remind me when it's time to leave.
My daughter asked to go to a movie with a friend. She's like, "Can I do this? In 2 weeks, we're going to go watch this movie." Okay, add it to the calendar. That's fine. Add it to the calendar.
She'll go in. Not to add anything. Like, oh man, you can't. We have family dinner. We have
So she'll go in there. She can book. She can do that. I mean, all the kids. We've told all of our kids, hey, if you have something that comes up, we can talk about it, but once, like, if it's going to happen, you need to go add it to the family calendar or it doesn't happen. Like, if something else gets booked in because you didn't add it, that's your loss. That's kind of their.
It's easy to put something when there's time available, but it's really hard to move it.
Yeah.
But if you just go ahead and put it, like, if you're saying, hey, adjust. Tuesday or Wednesday, doesn't matter. We put it on Wednesday. Both are free. Put it on Wednesday. Oh no, we had that on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'd be easy if we knew about it before. Let's just move it to Tuesday, especially when other people are involved.
Yeah.
Especially in business.
That's been really big. In our business, we do the same with our business calendar. You're part of it. Everybody can go and add things to that business calendar, and it notifies the team that, hey, we have this going on. So if you have other projects coming in, you need someone's assistance on, or it's
easy to
who's
schedule
available.
People out rather than just saying, are you available? Like, no, you got to go to a project. And like, okay, never mind.
Or you need to be out for
or you can look at it
appointment
and say,
or something.
hey, how long do you think this will take? Could we do this much of it, come do this and go back and do that. And then I can help you. And that's just being more organized. I've set alarms sometimes to say, hey, check the calendar that day. Cause you're going to, on Friday, I'm like, hey, next week's a busy week. Monday morning, 7 a.m. It's good. My phone's going to tell me, hey, check your calendar.
Nothing's crazy. And that's what entrepreneurs need to realize is utilize the technology you have. Nothing's crazy. Go overboard in everything you do. And you can always back off of it once you build that nice habit. But when you're trying to do something, force yourself to it. Set calendars, set reminders, just have everything completely scheduled out for you until you build the habit and you just running with it. And you get to the point you're not even looking at it anymore, but you know what you're doing next. That's where you want to
You can get your freedom and flexibility from a job or a boss or whatever, but you'll never get it from accountability. You have to be accountable one way or the other. You're accountable to someone. Unless you just have a fly by the seat of your pants job and you're not married and you don't have kids and you have no responsibilities. That's the only way that could work. You have to be accountable and sometimes that transition, you go from being an outdoor cat to an indoor cat or vice versa or whatever. Like now you have to, you still have rules to follow. You just get to make the rules, but you have to make the rules because, you want to say screw the man and I don't want to work for anybody or whatever. And what all comes with that, having to listen to people and follow rules or whatever. But the companies have that set in place where, hey, it's all scheduled out. There's consistency. There's
when you take the boss out of the picture, now it's you.
Yeah. They can get scary or you can just be like, hey, I got a couple more steps to do. Just like, hey, learning and management. As before, it's kind of cool when you're the boss, but it's like, well, now everything's your problem. Yep. It's not like, I'm good here. I did everything I'm supposed to do right. You still do everything right, and then it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
Everything becomes your problem when you're an entrepreneur.